Okay, what's up, everybody? You're watching another episode of Panda Podcast with your boy Rome. Today, I'm interviewing Charles J. He's a fashion designer from South Jersey. Basically, we're just going to have a conversation with him like we always do with people and just get to know his story. What's up, man? How you doing today?
Man, living the dream, man. We trying to get ready for this photo shoot tonight. Had to go pick up the we got a 2022 Supra.
Yeah, that don't
So
look clean.
listen, we over the G-Wagons and the Lambos. We wanted to do something that was like different. So I found like the Supra and I drove it. It's solid.
Yeah, that
It's
it
solid.
fits the whole aura that you got going on with
Yeah.
the chains, and like you're very on representing your own brand. I think that like that's the best way to do it. Like,
Oh yeah.
if you create something, you want to show that you represent it. Like, I'm not giving you something I'm not a part of. So like just seeing you always dripped out in your own stuff, like I think that's the best way to go. Like,
Listen, man, it's honestly so hard to go to the store and shop for anything now because I understand construction and I understand how to develop a garment. So it's like if I go in there and I touch it and I know the quality's not where I want, I can't.
it's like
I'm
you
not going to
can't
buy
even-
it. But I'll take that garment or I'll buy it and then I'll just remake it better.
That's
So
wow. It's
that's-
like you
yeah.
kind of create what you want out of clothes.
Exactly.
That's the best way. I was actually gonna ask you that, like, cause I seen an interview of you before. I think you talked about just like your overall intro to fashion,
Yeah.
and you just spoke on like the importance of passion being sometimes your only fuel.
Yeah.
Because you say you don't really have like the full background of fashion designing and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's like you just knew you had a vision and you created it. So I was like, speak on that, like.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, that really comes along with anything that you do. It doesn't necessarily, for me, it was fashion and business, but, for somebody else, it could be music or, even podcasting, whatever it is. Like, you're never really going to know everything about something. It's always good to do your research too, but the best experience is to just dive in and get started. You got to be able to get through, the periods of time where you don't really know. And you kind of just got to figure it out because everybody's process is different. And I think something that Jay-Z said, what works for me might not work for you. But, it's best for you to just get in and figure out what works for you. But also look at, pioneers in the industry. Like, I'm huge on systems and infrastructure. So it's like, I look at Ralph Lauren. I'm not trying to be Ralph Lauren, but I'll look at what Ralph Lauren has been able to do from a business infrastructure side.
Yeah.
Not the product he develops, but the business infrastructure side and how he was able to develop his brand. And, take those bits and pieces and, internalize them and figure out how they can work for me. So
Yeah.
that's really, what it's about. And then on the passion side of that, it's like, that's going to be the only fuel that you got sometimes. Like, cause you're not going to know, you might not have the money, you might not have the resources, but listen, if you got the grind and the passion, you can always figure it out.
Yeah, I feel like that's the essentials of like manifesting like anything you really want to do in like life overall. And it's like you speak on like having inspirations from like other greats, and I feel a lot of other like people who actually do great things in their fields, they always speak on having inspirations from like great people. Like, who are some actual like fashion brands either now or before that you actually just feel connected with?
This is always a tough question for me because I don't follow fashion. And that sounds really crazy, but I just don't. Like, I understand the corporate side of fashion, and I don't like it, and I don't agree with it. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be included in it. It's a huge manipulation process. The higher ups try to dictate what's trending this season, what colors that brand should be designing for this season with the Pantone color reports.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, or the trend reports that come out. Like, there's a trend report that comes out, well before every season, right? They look at the stuff that showed in the fashion week earlier that year, and then they look at the trend report to make it for that next season. So it's like, basically the higher ups in the fashion industry are just like, oh, well, let's manipulate the market and figure out what's going to be hot this year. Like that summer when everybody was wearing neon or everybody was making neon clothes, is because it was in the Pantone color report. It was a report that comes out and people can begin to dictate what is going to be relevant in the industry.
So it sets the structure almost of what should be done instead of even having like a artistic creation, like this is what I'm feeling right now.
But you can always tell the difference between somebody who follows, and there's nothing wrong with following the Pantone color report from the business side, because if I'm out here and I'm designing stuff that's on the Pantone color report, I can then begin to pair it with major fashion brand accessories, and now my brand automatically, from the marketing side, it makes sense, and I 100% agree with that. I just don't care. I don't care about none of that. So I don't follow the Pantone color reports. I don't look at trend reports. I really just make whatever I want to make and whatever I feel inspired to make. And that's part of the reason why I've been able to see, a decent amount. I don't say a lot of success because I don't feel like I'm anywhere near, where I want to be. But the decent amount of success that I have been able to, achieve is because I just stay true to my vision. And that's been vital to me since day one, because I had kidney cancer at age 2, had my right kidney removed. I went through chemotherapy, right? So I've been a cancer survivor, been in remission for 20, going on 29 years now. Yeah. And it's just like, that experience changed my life. I was in the children's hospital playroom playing with the building blocks. That's how I came up with the logo for my brand. Like, so those types of
beautiful.
Yeah. So like those types of experience, 93 the year I was diagnosed with cancer, like those types of things, like I can't fabricate that. And I can't like make something like that I don't feel is, to the standard that I want it to be at. So for me to follow a trend report or a Pantone color report, that would be me like disrespecting my story, and I'm not doing that. Wow. So, you just begin to learn as you're in the industry longer, you begin to learn these things, and you learn how the business works and how things operate. And that's why like I'm not with the industry fluff. Like I'm the type of like I kind of relate myself to Russ in a sense.
Wow, okay.
Because it's like, he's very unapologetic. I'm going to say what's on my mind. I'm going to let y'all know the truth of the industry and how things are being manipulated and all of that. So it's like, I'm going to be very unapologetic, and I don't know if the industry is going to be ready for something like that. Because I'm not going to come through as a tyrant, but I'm going to call it how it is.
That's, like, unfortunately, like sometimes a good villain entry is like a good origin story for like someone who goes on to be a very impactful person.
Right.
Like, it's like sometimes you have to like force your way into like the industry when it comes to like, especially because like I like that you said Russ, because hip hop and fashion design, they're very similar. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's like I can see a fashion designer getting inspiration from a hip hop person, or I can see a hip hop artist getting inspiration from a fashion designer, because it's like the way you drop merch is kind of like them dropping songs, and then
it's just a big ecosystem for the culture. That's really what it is. You think fashion, music, art, everything coincides with each other, but it's all subjective too. Okay. So once you begin to learn that everything is subjective, you aren't worried about everybody loving what you do, because that's an unrealistic expectation. I feel like a lot of artists do that. Like they put out a song and be like, oh, everybody's gonna love this. Like you got to be 100 with yourself. Everybody's not gonna love that song. They're just not, because
it's impossible.
Art is subjective. So if I put out a shirt, I can't be like, oh well, everybody's gonna buy this shirt. That's not realistic. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's like, as long as I believe in my vision and believe in what I'm producing, that's the only fuel that I need. And then people will eventually begin to buy in. Like people are so afraid to put their 10,000 hours in, and that's something that I've seen. I do consulting work. I work with other brands, and a lot of people come to me like, yo, you know what? I want to start a brand. Like, and I ask them like, you sure you want to start a brand? And they're like, yeah, I got an idea. I'm ready to go. Da, da, da. I'm like, all right, cool. So we sit down, have a consultation. They don't have anything ready to go to start their brand or start their business. And like, that's fine. Like I understand the fuel behind you having your idea, but really begin to break down and then figure out if this is truly what you want.
Yeah, like what are you trying to get out of this thing?
Exactly, because you're going to be tested in your journey. Like this year alone, I probably went through the most as an entrepreneur that I've ever went through in the last 5 years. In 1 year. So like earlier, we were talking earlier about the Gloucester Premium Outlets. When we were there, we opened up a 5,000 square foot space in the middle of the pandemic.
Wow.
Like retail store, photography studio, podcast studio, live stream, Twitch room, makeup studio, all in one space. So it's like a co-working space, event space, retail, and we did events, right? Polo was next door to our spot. And they ended up leaving a month after we signed our first lease for the space. So we're like, yo, we want to do events, but we don't want to pull all of our furniture and equipment out. We might as well rent out the space next door. So we take the space next door to another 5,000 square feet. In the middle of the pandemic, we opened up to 10,000 square feet. And, we booked that in less than 3-4 months, right? 2 months after we signed the second lease and we opened up, we started doing events. We killing it, right?
What goes on at like your events?
So we allow people to rent our space to do events, or we do our own events. Like we did an all women's art gallery show last year, which was crazy dope. We had a 14-year-old artist that was actually featured in the newspaper. Like we did a launch event for Urbane where we turned the whole space into a baseball stadium. Had grass, cotton candy carts, like water ice cards, cartoonists, all of that. So like we do a lot of inspirational stuff and stuff that's like artsy and fun, but then we also allow people to do their own events. Like we did Mir Fontaine's album release party and stuff like that.
Which album?
The last album that he did with Melody Monster.
Oh wow.
So yeah, we did that at Avenue Black, but a lot of people don't know the cops were sitting outside the event the whole time. Like we had the cops called on us, Gloucester Township Police.
Why?
bro. We you know what I mean? We got 40 to 60 people that are all of color in one space for a hip hop release. Like they looking at it like, oh, y'all about to be doing drugs and
something wild.
Like,
on.
And that's not even the type vibe of space that we have. But we endured all of that, from discrimination from security over there, from management, from corporate, for the Gloucester Premium Outlet, Simon Malls.
Yeah.
New mall manager came in, tried to restructure our lease, told us our events got to be approved 30 days out. If things aren't approved, we can't do them. And that impeded on our business model. Yeah. So we literally only ran 40% of our business model that whole year. Wow. And we were still paying rent for both spaces. Lawyers went back and forth for 6 months, and we was like, yo, just let us out the lease. Y'all don't want us here. It's obvious. Y'all don't think we add a value to the mall, when we were bringing a lot more traffic to the mall because of the things that we were
especially
doing.
Being new and urban, and
exactly.
It's like, black-owned businesses has like a more cultural pull sometimes.
Right. So it's like, we went through that experience, and we just just let us leave. So then we
crazy.
Yeah, we opened up the Deptford Mall store in 2.5 weeks, bro.
Wow, that's
2.5 weeks.
Move.
Yeah. So like I was like, yo, it's a quick pivot. It ain't our end goal, but it's a quick pivot. So we move into Deptford, handle that situation, open up Black Friday of that year, killed it.
Black Friday.
Yeah, straight retail, killed
that probably went really good with your brand, like Avenue Black. Like it just played very good in the marketing.
Yeah, like everybody loved it. So, we did a decent amount of bread that first month. And then, coming into the next year, this was probably, I think this was February. The end of February, we had a leak in our stock room.
Wow, fuck.
Lost $30,000 worth of product.
Damn.
Yep. Crazy, like varsity jacket, a whole bunch of product that we lost, like mold, water, all that.
How did that happen?
We're under the food court. So the food court, it was jalapenos at the time. I think they're still there, but they had a leak, and it was like a crazy leak where water just went on all the product for the most part. That was on that side of the stock room. Yeah. Crazy. So we lost a decent amount of product from that. But then 2.5 weeks later, I was out LA for LA Fashion Week. Yeah. And, we did the show, killed the show. They loved the brand, showed the vegan leather collection for Urbane. And, we decided like, yo, let's celebrate. Like, we've been working crazy. Let's go celebrate. We go downtown LA. I got a rental. It's a 2022 Durango blacked out SRT. So we pull up to the parking lot joint. It was outside. Yeah. Park, get out the car, go get something to eat. We probably going from the car for 45 minutes. Come back to the car, window busted, everything in the car stolen. My videographer, all his equipment was stolen. My camera was stolen. It was like $14,000 worth of clothes, like all of that stuff.
Where at in LA?
Downtown LA. Yeah. And me, like firstly, I'm on a high from the show, so I'm thinking, yo, I'm untouchable. I can't be touched. And then you go into and get something to eat, and you come out, and you just sitting there like, damn, like certain things like that will just humble you and be like, yo, anything that you have can be taken away like that. So you really gotta have gratitude and appreciate that, but also appreciate everything that happens. Like the day before, I'm a huge fan of Nipsey, right? Mm-hmm. So we went to the Marathon Dispensary the day before, and Nipsey's the anniversary of Nipsey's death was the day after the Fashion Week show.
Okay.
And Nipsey just talked about how the police raided his crib and stole all his equipment, and he had to start over. So for me to be in LA, for me to lose all of that stuff the day after we went to the Marathon Dispensary, and Nipsey's anniversary is the day after, that's not by chance. Okay. And for us to be away from the car for 40 minutes, like that was all in the cards. All this was supposed to happen. You feel me? It
goes full circle.
Yeah, and it's like, I preach a lot about just, Nipsey, his mindset and everything. So it's just like, I kind of am going through the same journey that he kind of had to go through. So it's just the trajectory is crazy for me.
Yeah, I think like a good reset is essential to like humbling someone, because I think it's a good part of everyone's journey to like success. I feel like you have to go through a certain point where you felt like it's really happening, and then it gets taken away from you. So when it really happens, you know exactly how to handle it and how to get the most out of the opportunity. Yeah. Like you don't waste it, because I feel like everyone wants that moment to get the virality or all that stuff, but it's like when it actually happens, it's like they realize I'm not prepared. It doesn't even happen the way you thought. You know what I'm saying? It's like a missed opportunity.
Nah, and I mean also too, it's just like, how much are you willing to go through to get to where you're trying to go? Yeah. And at this point, like I fought my biggest battle when I was 2 years old.
Speak on it.
So it's like anything that I endure from that point,
it's like
it's like, what's next? Like, this all you got for me? Like, this all you got? They stole the equipment in LA. That's it? We got a leak in the stock room. That's it? We about to open up an 11,000 square foot space. Like, what else you got? Like, I'm not saying I can't be touched. It's just, nothing is ever going to affect me to the point where I want to quit. Because
that's a good mentality.
Yeah.
It's almost like you would love for everything to go good and perfect, but you're not expecting it. So regardless, it's like you're expecting stuff to happen. It's like you're going to just fix it and keep it pushing.
Right.
Like.
And I think that's, you know, with entrepreneurs or, you know, anyone creative, like, we got to stop with the unrealistic expectations. Like, you shouldn't expect everything to go 100% the right way. But I said something about 2 weeks ago when I was on Instagram Live, and it was something that I live by. It's called The Power to Pivot. It's actually going to be the title of my first book. It's called The Power to Pivot.
I like that. That's cool.
And it's just a matter of being able to adjust when having to deal with adversity, whether it's adjusting the business model, adjusting your strategy. You know, there's nothing wrong with taking a quick pivot. So like for us going from Gloucester to Deptford, that's not what we wanted to do.
But you're just adjusting.
It was a quick pivot that we did, you know, just to make sure that, you know, we still can sustain and be relevant, you know, within the process of what we're trying to achieve. And, you know, the pivot is so important because like you might think, you know, you might be creating this, you know, this certain type of music or, you know, this certain type of art. And, you know, it might be an opportunity for you to expand into something different.
Yeah.
But you're afraid to because you're like, well, this is all that I know. Your growth comes in being in uncomfortable situations. So the more that you push yourself and get outside your comfort zone, the more opportunity for growth. And you can't be afraid to fail out loud. Like I let people know when I fail out loud. Like I'll tell Instagram, I'll tell the world, like, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who are afraid to even attempt to do the things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, my biggest thing with my life and, you know, what I feel like my purpose is, I'm here just for inspiration. Like inspiration, something that Nipsey said, inspiration is the highest form of currency. So it's like,
completely agree with that.
Yeah. Like if I can just show thousands of people that this shit is possible.
Yeah, fail
like,
or success,
yeah,
like it
like,
doesn't matter. It's
that's
like,
it. Like you know, I'm showing you, and like for us to go and open an 11,000 square foot space, like I'm gonna keep talking about it, but like
you need to. It's it's like
that's a big thing, especially. But I'm not going to do it in Atlanta. I'm not going to do it in Philly. I mean Philly. I'm not doing it in LA. I'm doing it in South Jersey.
Yeah. Like
we're trying to build an infrastructure, a creative ecosystem in South Jersey. But it's like everybody just wants to move away and say, oh yeah, I grew up there, but you know, y'all good. Like. Nah, I don't want to do
feel that. I think Jersey could be its own new hub of like creation and art, like the way Florida, Atlanta, LA,
exactly,
New York, they all have their own culture. I feel like out here we have enough adversity and like diversity. So the mixture of both, we can have a very good like artistic like outlet between like painting, music, clothes, like all types of stuff. Like,
and it's just the biggest thing I see out here, man, is just, and you know, they see it in Atlanta and LA and all that too, but out here I think it's just different. It's just ego.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, it's really crazy to me that like people really feel as though they can't work with you or work alongside you to, you know, accomplish a common goal if they're not the face of it. And that's something that, you know, I see in South Jersey all the time is everybody wants to be the guy. Excuse me. Everybody wants to be the guy. Everybody wants to be the pioneer. Like, if you really look at history, there's not gonna be one person that makes it happen.
Yeah.
Like,
nothing great I personally feel is ever done alone. Like I think like 10 times out of 10, like the things that amount to great success, it's like a team behind it. It's multiple brains and like input. It's always like that. Like, it's just what comes with it. But I think with what you're saying, with everyone wanting to lead and just be that guy or whatever, I think it comes with just the territory of New Jersey. Like we're one of the most like densely populated states.
Exactly.
So I think naturally us being on top of each other essentially and how like tight niche everything is, it made our egos a little more like abrasive, where it's like we need to like create that space.
That separation.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so, it's just that separation though. Realistically, if you look at the long-term effect of that, it doesn't really help anything.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, for some of the top creatives in South Jersey to not all be on the same page and trying to push the movement forward, you can look at it from a bird's eye view. That's all ego. That's all it is. If you eliminate ego from any equation, there's nothing, like, there's so much collaborative effort that could be done. But it's just the ego immediately stops that. Like, if I reach out to another designer and be like, yo, listen, I got this project I'm working on, you know, they're like, nah, I'm good. Like, and it's just like, this is an opportunity that you probably wouldn't be offered, you know, and I'm keeping it 100. Like, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal, but I got some opportunities that are going to be popping up to where it's like, it could put you in a better position from where you at with your brand.
Yeah.
And if I hit you up and you're just like, nah, I'm good, it's just like, all right, like, and it makes me want to ask a question like, all right, what's the reason why? Like, what's the reason why you don't want to be a part of this project? And a lot of them be like, no, it's just not for me.
Those are the real questions.
Yeah, like that's cool. Like if it's not for you, I understand completely. But if it's something that's going to elevate you and elevate your brand, like even with our space that we about to open up, like we were in the Gloucester Premium Outlets for a whole year, November to November. That's when we opened. And the amount of people who told me before we opened, like, yo, I'm gonna pull up, let's get this working, da da da. I was there for a whole year. I did not see none of y'all pull up. None of y'all pulled up. And everybody's always saying, bro, we got to work, da, 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 da. Now I'm at a point in my career or, in my journey to where I can't afford to collaborate with everybody. I can't afford to work with everybody now because my time is more valuable than it was a year and a half ago to 2 years ago. So now when you reach out to me and I send you an invoice to have a conversation,
it gets awkward.
Conversations, it's a little bit different now. Man. But like this is what I was trying to preach a year and a half ago to 2 years ago. Like, yo, listen, I'm in this space. Y'all can pull up. Let's work. And people not pulling up. Yeah. That's not. I can't do nothing for you now. Like I gave you the window. That was the window. Now it's I'm working on bigger projects. Like I can't.
I don't know if we discussed this, but I remember off camera you were talking about when the whole Euphoria thing happened. Like you weren't ready. Essentially, because the shirt that was shown, you didn't have available like on the website. Like, what was that like though? Just in like that moment though, like what did it feel like?
So, I mean, I'll go back to how it happened, and then we'll run into like the whole like when it actually happened. Okay. So, Heidi Bloom reached out. She's the costume wardrobe stylist for Euphoria. She reached out about a year and a half ago, and she was like, hey, I'm working on Euphoria, would love to get the brand in there, send me a line sheet, whatever.
That's fire.
Yeah, so I sent the line sheet, and at the time I didn't know what Euphoria was. Like, it was just like, oh, okay, cool. Like another placement, great. So, we did, I sent her out some stuff, and she was like, Algie tried on the jacket, he tried on the t-shirt. It was an Avenue Black t-shirt, and then the Urbane suede bomber jacket. He's just like, Algie tried on both of them, loves them. Can you send out 2 more shirts? Because we're going to use it for extended parts of the scene. And we're shooting multiple days. So can you just send out 2 more shirts? Send out 2 more shirts. And didn't hear from her after that. So from like 2020, like this was like 2021, like March. Yeah, like 2021 March, because that's when they were shooting. And then I didn't hear from her since.
Yeah.
So I was on vacation with my girlfriend, and we were in Arizona. When I was on vacation, I was like, yo, I need to disconnect. Let me put my phone on D&D, like
just vibing.
But yeah, like I'm just vibing out. So I look at my phone, it's like 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. And I look at my phone and I'm like, yo, why is my Instagram going crazy right now? And then I saw the first tag and I was like, Euphoria. I'm like, wait, hold up. So I, take my phone off, do not disturb. I had over probably like 1,000 notifications on Instagram.
Fire.
And it was like, yo, your brand's on Euphoria, da, 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 like all text messages, all of that. So it's just like, in that moment, it was dope. Cause like, yeah, like I turned the show on and like right away, and I was hyped. My girl was like, yo, that's dope, da, da, da. So we turned the show on, we watching it, like, and just to see, not only one brand, but both of my brands on the largest premiere of a series ever. Just to be able to see both. Like, people work their whole life to just get one brand on there, but for me to have 2, like crazy. that's crazy.
Yeah, that's literally like.
So my first thought was like, yo, this is crazy. The second thought was like, yo, what's next?
Facts.
But then
that momentum going.
Right. But then my third thought was like, fuck, I don't have the shirt available on the website. So I go to the website. We had like 1,000. It was probably like 1,200 hits within like 45 minutes.
Traffic, like all that people
crazy,
went to it.
And everybody was looking for the Avenue Black T-shirt, but it wasn't available. And it's just like, there's nothing, like I was pissed in the moment because I'm like, yo, I should have been prepared for this. I should have knew, but there was no way for me to be prepared. Like I didn't know it was going to happen. I sent the clothes out a year and a half ago. I don't know if it's going to be on the premiere. Like, I don't know. So it's just like, it's just a learning experience. And that's what I was talking earlier about, just making sure my infrastructure and my business is like in the right space. So it's like, I'm taking some time off now to get the business infrastructure side of Urbane and Avenue Black retail wise, get that together so that, when these opportunities do come up, we're prepared and we can capitalize on them. Because if that T-shirt was available, we probably would have sold probably like $5,000 to $10,000 worth of T-shirts.
Yeah.
Just in that, that time frame.
Yeah,
but it's like, but I just look at it too. It's like, this is just another part of the journey. Like, this is another part of the story. When I write this book, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be a great story. I think up until recently, that was like their highest premiered show ever.
It was like 2.4 million viewers, I think.
I think it just got broke by there's a new show that's like a spinoff of I've never seen it, but it's a dragon show or what's it called? I don't want to get the name wrong.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
It's a HBO. Do you know? Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Oh, yeah.
So it's a spinoff of Game of Thrones. It's some new show like that, and it just recently had like their highest premiere. Like,
word. So, damn, so now I'm gonna have to get on a different show.
Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Make some medieval Avenue Black stuff. They throw it in there. That'd be fire. Say that. Do like a medieval collection. That'd be wave.
Nah, you got my mind going now.
Nah, for real. So like, what is your inspiration other than like taking like just your life? I think that's the best way to do it because that's like passion. Yeah. But like, when you're creating, like, what goes through your brain on like just how you collect and make a piece?
Yeah. So like, I challenged myself in 2020 when the pandemic hit. I was like, yo, if I got an idea, I got to get it down within 3 days. And I did that whole year. And I probably designed over like probably 100 different pieces. Just in that year alone, I designed 100 pieces like digitally, because I design everything digitally. I can't draw. That's just not my thing.
Yeah, I get it done.
But digitally, Illustrator, I'm a beast, so I can, manipulate the garment however I want to. But my process is really like, if I have an idea or if I see a piece that, inspires me, then I'll be like, all right, how can I really like make this how I would want to make it, But then there's other times where it's like I just be walking down the street and I'll be like, this would be a fire concept, some vegan leather cargo pants with removable pockets.
That's fire.
So it's just like I don't go to fashion school, and when you look at a lot of the pioneers in the fashion industry, most of them didn't go to fashion school. And the beautiful thing about that, we don't believe in structure. Yeah. When it comes to design. And so like, I don't know that you're not supposed to use this fabric or this type of, sewing seam or whatever. Yeah. Like, I don't know. So it's like, organically, my ideas just come out and it's like, all right, I can make this. But realistically, like, the average person would be like, no, you can't do that.
You know what that reminds me of? You've seen the movie Drumline, right?
Yeah.
Like the character Nick Cannon plays.
Exactly.
I think his name is like Devin Miles.
Yeah.
Like he basically learned how to play the drums just off the ear and like just the things he knew worked for him. Yeah. And it was like he was able to play with the same people who are in school. They know music theory. So it's like essentially like the same thing.
It's the same thing because it's like there's no restrictive thought.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing I don't think I can make. Like I'll come up with the craziest idea, and then if something like construction wise doesn't make sense, I can scale back.
It's like more free almost.
Yeah. But like most people who went to school for something, they think from a restrictive, thought process. Yeah. So it's like, all right, well, I got to do this, this, and this to get to this. I think backwards. I think, all right, this is what I want. I got to do this, this, and this to get there. Yeah. Versus like, all right, well, I got to do this, this, and this first to get there. No, I think about it backwards. So when it comes to me designing a garment, like I design some really off the wall shit.
Yeah, I feel like that's naturally going to happen when you're not limiting yourself on like what's the standard or what is normal. Yeah. Like, like if you're just like, I'm just trying to create what I like, naturally it's going to be something different because it's like you just blending literally your own paradigm of your own life experience into like your artistic clothing.
And I don't ever want anybody to think like I came out of the gate like designing, like my designs were like crazy. Yeah. My concepts were crazy. My execution was flawed. Okay. And that's just a part of the learning curve whenever you're doing something new. It's like, you might have the greatest idea ever. But when you're first starting out, your execution is going to be a little flawed because you don't understand, you don't have the education, you might not have the resources. But it's like, if you continue with that thought process of, I can do this or I want to create this, right? You can always find ways to get better in your execution because that's really what anything is about. It's not about the product that you want to make. It's about the execution. Yeah. And as long as you can get better with your execution over time, that's why people say put your 10,000 hours in. As a designer, if I look at designs I made 6 years ago versus designs that I'm making right now, my designs that were 6 years ago, I could easily remake them with the knowledge that I have now, and they'll sell like crazy.
Yeah, it's always like that, even in music. Exactly. Like when you grow and you get your sound better, you look at stuff you dropped before, and you're like, man, like
I could remake that. Yeah, yeah, and like that's the thing. Like people get so caught up in like this speed of social media right now because people's attention spans are so fast. It's like, all right, well, I got to keep up with the market. Yeah. a real pioneer is going to redefine the market, or they're going to make their own market space. And this is a book that my mentor and my business partner put me on, Warren Prescott. It's called Blue Ocean Strategy.
Okay.
And basically, a red ocean is a bunch of sharks fighting and eating, trying to get in the same, like get the same thing in the same market space.
Yeah.
The blue ocean is the uncontested market space. It's the space where nobody's really there yet, so you can capitalize on a huge opportunity because nobody's there yet. So it's just like, you know, that's what I think about when it comes to design. Like, all right, there's not a lot of people, you know, designing with vegan leather right now because vegan leather is not considered a luxury material.
Yeah.
They just put out a blog post. This is probably like 2 months ago, talking about vegan leather is going to be the new
it thing.
The new it thing, because people want to stop killing animals for cowhide and all this other stuff. Like, bro, like,
it's crazy how at one point that was like crazy to even.
And like
doing.
Even when I told people like, yo, I'm designing stuff with vegan leather, they're looking at me like, what is vegan leather? Vegan leather is pure. It's polyurethane. It's synthetic. You know, it's man-made. It's not coming from an animal. That doesn't mean it's less quality. You just have to find the correct blend. And I was able to find the correct blend off the rip when I designed my poncho that I designed a couple years ago. And Pierre Moss actually took that design. Crazy. Yeah.
It's always like that in fashion. Like bigger brands, sometimes it's like they
creative
just
director every Bach was like, oh, let me and the thing is, I worked with a stylist that he worked with. So it was just like, it's weird. Yeah. It's real weird. Like, that's why I don't bang with the industry. Do not put me in the industry conversations with nothing. Like, if you put me on a panel with other people in the industry, everybody gonna look at me like this. Oh, he not following the code. Ain't no code for me. Like, people say like, yo, you grow up in the hood, there's a code. Nah, I don't know no code. Ain't no code for me. Like,
you write your own script.
Yeah, like you can't tell me how to do or how to do something or how to execute something, because I'm just gonna do it how I want to do it. And if I fail, I fail. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna say I did it my way. And that's how I operate with everything that we do.
Yeah, I feel like that's so you, bro. Like, that's essential to really doing something that's different. And like, you're really doing that. Like congratulations to you on like the progress. And like,
I appreciate that.
Your brand, like, you know, I have some mutual friends that model for you, and like every time I just see your brand, it's like progressing, your new store, a new drop, or just like you're just making more content. And it's like, I think that's just essential. Like, you really got your whole game plan like established. And like you said, well, I mean, from the outside looking in, that's all that matters.
And that's something I want to touch on too, is like, man, do not be fooled by social media.
Absolutely.
Please don't. I've seen people who are like these crazy influencers who don't have no bread, nothing. Like, social media is such a facade. You can use it to your advantage, yes. And, you know, for anybody who does do that, big ups to you. The space that I'm in right now, you know, personally, is I need to build my personal brand up. That's the reason why I'm willing to take some time away from designing, because I know design is not going anywhere. Fashion's not going anywhere. Everybody's going to be wearing clothes. Like, if I take 3 to 6 months off, but come back 10 times better, that's better for me than for me to keep spinning my wheels just to, you know, stay relevant. Yeah. So it's like, now I'm like, all right, let me put the design stuff to the side. I have an idea of my rebrand that I want to do with Urbane. I want to go more luxury. The new stuff I'm going to be releasing is going to be more on some Gucci, Balenciaga type, you know, vibe from the luxury side.
I seen an article talk about your brand, and they use like the term like athlux. Or athlux. Like, what is that? Like,
so athlux is basically athletic luxury.
I figured.
But it's not streetwear. So there's a difference between athlux and streetwear. Streetwear is like your grungy, you know, Supreme, like
the casual.
Yeah, like that type vibe. Athlux is like the mix between high fashion and athletic wear. Okay. So like, it might be like crop trousers that are in like, you know, suit material, polyester material.
Okay, like something more like high end.
So like, you basically like, you taking a suit, but you dumbing down the suit to make it more like casual.
Oh,
so like, if you get like a pair of like Adidas track pants, but turning that material, that polyester, using that for like a suit or like crop trousers. So that's like, that's the type vibe. Like, but also too is Urbane from the Athlux side, right? It's colorful, but it's not tacky. And that's something that is able to change the trajectory of the perception. Because like, if I take something that's really, really, 9 times out of 10, if you take something that's really, really colorful and it's not executed correctly, it looks tacky. It doesn't look good, because it looks like, oh, they just throwing all these colors on there. Like, it looks weird. But I have been able to execute colorful stuff that looks
Still
very
has,
clean.
like,
it doesn't take away from, like, you can see the construction of the garment. You can see how it looks, and it looks good.
That's hard to do with colors, for real, for real.
In 2015, when I started, I was designing colorful stuff. And people was telling me, like, yo, your brand, your brand's dope, but, it's too colorful. I won't wear it.
Explosive or something.
Right.
Like,
so it's like, you fast forward to now, what you see?
Colors.
Everything is colorful. Everything is colorful. Sneakers and it's track suits. Everybody's designing color. But when I started designing color, everybody was looking at me like, yo, you wildin'. Like this.
Ain't it.
But also too is you got to think in 2015, the LGBTQ community, that whole idea wasn't really as prevalent as it is now. So anybody who wore something that was colorful was considered.
It had more of a stigma to it of like that attachment.
Yeah, like that's no, like y'all on that side.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but now.
It's different.
Everything's so inclusive.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't allow those things to change my mindset. Like I built the brand off of, me being a kid and having fun. That's what the brand is about. It's about having fun, being unapologetic. That's why I came up with the slogan, not for everybody.
Yeah, I like that. I see that on your shirt. That shit's fire.
So like that slogan alone, like I came up with that because everybody was telling me like, yo, your brand's so dope, but it's too colorful. All right, well, my brand's not for everybody. Like I don't expect everybody to love my brand. And that was something that getting back to talking about, expectation. I don't have an expectation for everybody to love my brand. If you love my brand, great. I love that you enjoy it. If you don't, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like you telling me, oh yeah, your brand's dope, but it's too colorful. All right, bro, just say you don't know how to dress and keep moving. Like,
or it's just not your cup of tea.
Yeah, like if you're not, that's one thing too with creatives is, like I said, with expectations, we expect everybody to be our customer. If somebody doesn't like your price point, if somebody doesn't like your product, or somebody doesn't see the value in it, they just aren't your customer, and that's okay.
If anything, that's an alleviation now because you're now someone I don't have to worry about.
Exactly.
Like, I don't have to target you. Like,
but guess what? In 2-3 years, guess who's going to come back around?
The same person.
Exactly, because what's going to happen is it's the era of influence, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, if I have my brand that, I started off as colorful, people are saying, oh, it's too colorful for me. But 2-3 years later, they see somebody, celebrity or somebody wearing it, they like, I might try this, but that's also the advantage that we have with having two brands in our store.
Okay.
Avenue Black's more of like your everyday toned down colors, more neutral. Yeah. But it's still got a little edge to it as far as from the design side, like with the stripe going down and all of that.
Yeah,
so
that's fire.
Yeah, it's going to step like, and that's a part of, I'll touch on that after, but having two brands in the store where you go in to the left, you got Avenue Black, to the right, you got Urbane. The year that we've been at Deptford, I've been able to see the evolution of the customer, which is dope because they won't go to the Urbane side because it's too colorful, but they'll shop Avenue Black because it's more of in their wheelhouse. It's still a little bit outside their comfort zone, but they'll shop it. They'll wear that, come in, shop that. You'll see them 2-3 months later, they'll start to creep over to the other side.
Yeah, like they got it all in.
Yeah, because it's like, I'm just getting you outside your comfort zone a little bit. Avenue Black's gonna get you a little bit out, and then when you start to see some stuff with Urbane, you're like, I think I can wear that.
Yeah.
And then you start to see the evolution of the customer, and it's just like a lot of people just lack confidence.
Yeah.
Like if you go to the store and buy a fit, right? You going out that night, you go to Zara or H&M, you be feeling like you the flyest dude because you went and grabbed a fit.
Yeah.
But it's the same concept when somebody comes into your store or buys your brand. You have to make them feel like, that it's it.
Yeah, it's very on brand for you because I've seen before you've talked about like instead of being a part of what you're making, like your clothes is a part of you, but you view it as when people buy your clothes, it's like you want it to be whatever they make of it. Like it means what it means to you, but you like the diversity of like someone taking something and having a different meaning with it. Like,
like it's open for interpretation. So like when I came up with the slogan, not for everybody first thought like, oh, you want some cocky shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm just letting y'all know that my brand's not for everybody. Like everybody's not going to wear this. Like, and I'm from a business owner side, that's a transparency point.
Yeah, like
that's difficult. Like I don't want to tell anybody that everybody's not going to wear my stuff, but it's just the truth. Everybody's not going to wear my stuff. And I know that, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
like
it's a more humble approach too. It's not saying it's not for you. Yeah. It's just the realization of the reality. Like
exactly,
this may not be what you actually want. So.
Yeah, and then anybody's personal growth, like self-awareness, is key. Like if I understand from the rip that
to be aware is to be alive.
Exactly. So it's like everybody's expectation is all right. If I make this T-shirt, I got to sell it to 1 million people. For my brand to be successful.
Yeah.
You don't.
You don't.
If you have 30 to 50 customers who consistently buy your product,
that's success.
You have a successful brand.
Yep.
if you're talking about money wise, you're talking about marketing, whatever. That's 30 to 50 people who consistently buy your product. That is a successful brand.
It's crazy. It's the same thing with music, but like you said, what social media does to like someone's brain, it's like we're constantly like comparing like the wrong stuff. We're not essentially looking at your own stuff. Like you said, you've seen your own progression, and that's all that matters to you. Like, you know where you started and where you're at.
Right.
And that's all you can focus on because you got stuff to handle. Other people, it's like they're doing that, but they're still looking over their shoulders at what someone else is doing. And like, it's like you're giving away your energy almost on just even thinking about that type of stuff.
And a lot of stuff is like, I tell people work on, when I'm in my consultations, I say work on a 1+1 strategy. Everybody wants to go 1 to 100. Just work on 1+1.
That's facts.
It's like, you know, if I have 5 customers who enjoy my brand, I should invest all of my energy into those 5 people. Because there's a book by Seth Godin. What is it called? I forget. It might be Seth Godin. I'm not sure, but it talks about villages and building a tribe. And basically, from the marketing side, you shouldn't have to go get new customers, right? And we're talking about organic strategy 20, 30 years ago. We're not talking about like in the realm of right now, but you shouldn't have to go get new customers. And the reason why that is because the people who purchase your product should be bringing more people. And once you begin to understand that, or if I start with 5 people, right, and I cater, you know, and I invest so much energy and time into those 5 people, and they consistently buy my product. If I get each of them to bring one person with them, it's just like to an artist doing a showcase. Oh, I got to sell 5 tickets. Every artist has to sell 5 tickets, whatever, right? If I get those 5 people to bring one more person, right, that 5 goes to 10.
It expands.
Then that 10 goes to 20. That 20 goes to 40, and that 40 goes to 100, and that 100 goes to 1,000.
Facts.
Granted, a lot of people don't want to wait the time because they lack patience. They think, all right, well, you know, I got to go from selling 5 shirts to 50 shirts or 100 within 2 months. No, that's not a sustainable growth strategy. A sustainable growth strategy would be, all right, I got 5 people that rock with my brand. Let me see how I can get those 5 people to bring 5 more people. Send them out a referral code. Like, yo, listen, send this out to your friends. And if anybody purchases, you know, you'll get 50% off your next purchase. That's you.
That incentivizes them now.
Exactly. So now it's like, all right, I got 5 people that just brought 5 more people. If that works, now I can get them 10 people to bring 10 more people. And it's like, people don't want to work on that time frame because it's a longer sales cycle. Everybody looks at, all right, I just want to get a brand, run Facebook ads, and make millions of dollars. If that's what you want to do and you want to be God is dope, do your thing. Like, there's a marketplace for that.
Yeah.
That's merch. I don't look at that as brand. I look at more so like merch. Like, it's, you know, you taking a concept, putting that onto a shirt and selling it. Like, you know,
that's a very important thing to acknowledge. Like, there is a very big difference between merchandise and brands. Like,
but there's nothing wrong with the difference. And I think that's what people, like, when I'm in consultation sometimes, like, people look at me a little crazy when I say it at first. And I'm like, the idea that you're conceptualizing is more of merch. It's not a brand. Because a brand is like a created player that you create. Like, if you 2K my player, you know, he's 6'6", he's a point guard, 220 pounds, like he's a shooter or he's a playmaker.
Archetype, like the whole purpose of why he'll be on the court. Like,
exactly. So like, when you're building a brand, that's what that is. It is a person that is not you. It is a person that can stand separate. When you're talking about merch can be anything. It could be, if I come up with an idea tomorrow for a slogan, or I'm a rap artist and I got, you know, a lyric that I want to put on a shirt. I can just do it and put it out, and I don't have to worry about brand aesthetic. I don't have to worry about anything like that. I can literally just put it out, and it coincides with everything else that I already do. But when you're talking about branding, like real branding, bro, Nike's not going to drop something that's not within their wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's like they're very on brand.
Right. Or if they do want to drop something that's outside their wheelhouse, they'll go do a collaboration. Like, if Nike wants to drop a suit, they'll go do a collaboration with a suit company or a high fashion company.
They bring in someone who's more like into that.
Exactly.
Like,
then it becomes a co-branded effort. But like, that's where the idea of branding is for like an actual brand versus merch. And like, a lot of artists, like, as a music artist, like, do you really want to have a clothing brand? Like, do you know what comes along with having a clothing brand?
Sometimes it's just them selling merch. Really.
Like, just sell merch. It's okay. It's better for you. It gives you more flexibility to bounce around and have more ideas and concepts that you can push out. But when you're talking about a brand, you got to stay within that realm of, you know, design aesthetic, branding, because that's the reason why so many brands start and stop within the first 2 to 3 years. Because there's no type of consistency. They can't build a brand. Like, Nike is a brand. Adidas is a brand, Balenciaga, Gucci, it's a whole, you know, like you said, legacy of product and assortment, and that's brand.
Yeah, like when you think of Nike, you don't just think of like one item. Like it's not just a shirt or a shoe or like whatever. Like it's a whole lot. It's like a brand.
Right. So it's just like, I try to get people to understand that. And people look at me crazy sometimes. They're like, no, like I want to start a brand.
Crazy people
I'm like,
are the brilliant minds, my friend.
Nah, facts.
Like literally, like that. I think this has been like how long we been going for, Tycho? Oh wow, damn, bro, this has been great. This has been a great conversation. Right now we're gonna bring up your website on screen just so we could show people. You could just give us like a little quick infrastructure rundown on like what it is essentially.
Yeah, so the Charles J, my personal website, that's where people can, book consultations. I do one-on-one Adobe Illustrator workshops, but I also sell, my Illustrator templates. So templates that I actually use to build my products, or stuff that I've built myself. Okay. I sell those on my website for other brands and designers.
Those photos are fire. It's on screen right now. So
yeah. Wow. So those 3 brands are actually the brands that I'm actually running. All Day is a concept that I haven't released yet. That concept is insane. The logo, that's just the text logo, but the actual logo is 3 circles, kind of like the PayPal logo, but they're like intertwined. And the whole concept is mental health awareness, right? So the 3 color circles are 3 different shades of the same color. So it'd be like light blue, medium blue, dark blue. The lighter color is morning, afternoon, night. Don't let one thing in your day to mess up the rest of the day. So that's why the whole concept is of all day. So basically what we'll end up doing is dropping 1 colorway per month, and it's going to focus on one specific emotion. So if it's red, it might be anger. People will begin to upload videos of a time where they were angry,
That's fire.
And, we'll sell a certain amount of shirts and hoodies that are only in those colors. And then we'll pick 1 to 2 people. That's brilliant. Yeah, but we'll pick 1 to 2 people to go on a mental health resort.
Wow, so bro, that's so purposeful. Like I love that for you, bro.
So it's a lot bigger than, all day is just another concept. It's very similar like a PacSun, like the vibe that I'm going for design wise is like a PacSun Urban Outfitters graphic tee. Like that's what the vibe is.
I love those type of shirts.
Yeah, and it's like, it's just stuff that's going to really empower people, but also push the envelope of people talking about their emotions. So like that's one of the brands that'll be on there. And then of course I got Avenue Black and Urbane. But yeah, like I do consultations, one-on-one Adobe Illustrator workshops. I do I sell my templates. I have my ebook on there. It's 5 tips to starting your brand. It's $24.99, but you get 10 templates and you get a wholesale vendor list. I have a manufacturer vendor list on there. So like any resources that a brand would need just to get from, I'm not going to get you from phase 1 to phase 10. Like I'm just not. Like all these ebooks that people be selling, like, oh yeah, I'm going to get you from $0 to $100,000 in less than 30 days. Like that's cool, but like it's all surface level information. Yeah. And when I decided to do my ebook, I was like, listen, I want to do something that's going to be impactful and just get somebody from phase 1 to phase 2 or from phase 1 to phase 3, depending on how advanced they are. So that ebook alone, that's $24.99.
That's powerful information.
Yeah, and it just gets your thoughts out. Like it gets your thoughts out. It's a workbook, so like you have to write down your thoughts and get your ideas and answer questions. Oh wow! And it's going to challenge you. And I don't take any consultations until you buy my ebook, because I don't want to sit down with people and waste their time and waste their money. Because my consultation is $200 an hour. Okay. So if we sit down, do you really want to spend an hour explaining your whole idea to me that you don't even know?
Yeah, it's
if
like,
that's
or
what
you're
it
not
is?
Even serious about. It's like it's a waste of both people.
So that's how I mitigate, who my clients are and how I operate with them. But it also saves me time and saves them time as well. So it's like, you bang on my ebook, then I'll give you 50% off your consultation. And you buy the ebook, you get the discount. So, and then I also have a sock manufacturing company called Top Socks. Okay. I actually manufacture socks for other brands. So I'm the manufacturer. Wow. Yep. So I have a facility overseas that I partner with, and we actually manufacture premium comb cotton socks, and I can do organic comb cotton socks. I've got about 14 clients now, different brands that I work with.
That's like residual income.
Like kind of like, so what I do is I mitigate the risk for the manufacturer. So I handle the design process. They don't have to go back and forth with the customer for the language barrier or anything. I handle all that, and they send me clients as well. Okay. So like if there's a client in the US, they'll send them to me and I'll handle the mitigation between them. And I make a decent amount of money off of each order, but it just streamlines the process of people getting high quality product. Yeah. So that's dope.
You're very big on that. Like you're like the quality of how the product comes out. Like that's a big part in your creative.
Yeah, because it's just like anything that has my name on it. Yeah. I don't take that lightly. That's why I don't collaborate with just anybody. It's just like
I feel like that could make a brand kind of get diluted too.
Exactly. I mean, collaboration needs to be strategic. I made a post yesterday on Instagram where people think collaborate means free and it's not. Like, don't hit me up to say, oh, yo, I want to collab. Okay, what value are you adding? Are you adding value? No, then here's an invoice. Like, it's very, we try to dress things up to make them look pretty. But at the end of the day, don't hit me up and say you want to collab if you're not, if there's no value exchange. Mm-hmm. And then just because you're not trying to pay for a service. Like, to me, that's just going to piss me off. And it's going to make me, and it's going to make me charge you more. That's all it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you come to me and be like, yo, I want to collab. Okay, what are we collaborating with? Oh, I got, I got an idea for some clothes. Okay, yeah, here's my fee. It's $4,000 for me to develop a product from scratch.
Yeah, now you got to get the bag.
Like, it's just, don't try to dress things up in business. Like, just be cutthroat. Be like, hey, listen. Yeah, if you come to me and be like, yo, listen, I don't really have a big budget, but this is the project that I'm working on, I kind of want to see, where you can come in. If you come to me with that, I'll be way more lenient on my cost to come in to develop the product. But don't dress it up and try to make it look like something it's not.
Because now you're wasting time.
Yeah. So
what you got, like, I know you're saying you're taking like a 3 to 6 month break. But, like, other than that, what do you got, like, coming out when the break is done?
Right. So
the all-day stuff, I'm guessing that.
All day will probably be next spring or next fall. Okay. I'm working the timelines out for that now. Realistically, what I'm working on right now is I am rebuilding Urbane from scratch. So I'm looking at my basics, like my basic hoodie, my basic tees, my basic sweats. I'm redoing those over the next 3 months.
Okay.
They're going to start to drop on a monthly basis. So on the 1st or the 15th of every month, I'll be dropping a new colorway, and I'll only make a certain amount. And it's going to be continuous throughout the whole year of when I start to do the drops.
That's fire.
And that's just the basics. But then I'm going to build out 4 to 6 capsule collections, which would be like my vegan leather collection or stuff that's more off the wall and higher price point. Right. So I have my basic product, which is completely revamped, higher quality, very similar to like Essentials, but just better. That's great. Yeah, so I got that. Avenue Black, I'm still building that out. So we'll be dropping like 1 or 2 new products periodically. We'll still have the basic tees, basic sweats, basic hoodies and all that. But, that'll begin. Avenue Black will be built over the next 1.5 to 2 years. Like, I'll have a solid product
everything
assortment.
Is like still growing. So what is your Instagram handle? Like, where can everyone find you at when we finally upload this interview? Like, like, what's your @ name and stuff?
Got you. Like that? Yeah, my Instagram is @TheCharlesJ, TheCharlesJay. Okay. And then if you want to look at Avenue Black, we have avenueblack.shop, which is the website and the Instagram. And then my personal website is www.thecharlesj.com for any like consulting needs or templates or ebooks or anything like that. So
wow, that's fire. You definitely got like everything. This has been a great interview. Like, I felt like I learned a lot just like on like just the difference and similarities of like music and clothes. So I enjoyed this, man. It was really nice to meet you. Charles J from South Jersey, Avenues Black and Urbane's creator, just like visionary. He's just the man behind the mission. Him and what is your partner's name? Like
Warren Prescott.
Okay.
Yeah, so he actually has a digital marketing company called Imagination Digital, and then we partnered on Avenue Black, the whole concept. Okay. So of the co-working events and all that stuff. So
wow. So shout out New Jersey. We got a lot of things brewing. This has been another Panda podcast. My name is Rome. Follow me on Instagram @whoisrome, and we're out. Thank you.